Hey everyone, Susan Beatty here with West Kentucky Gear Up. I came across this website a little while ago and I shared the link to it with you in my last week's update email. And I told you that I would do a little more work on it and share a little bit more with you on it. So I did that, and there's so much to look at. I didn't even look at everything, but I picked out some things that I think would be helpful to you that would meet some of your needs in your classes. I'm going to take me off for a second and show you this document. This is what I've sent you in the email, but I just want to go through it a little bit and then go to some of the links and show you what some of these things look like. I think you'll find that they're going to be helpful to you in a virtual environment. It is the Concord Consortium. If you just go to concord.org, it takes you to the main page. And I thought this quote was kind of interesting. It really relates to what we're trying to do to support you. Today's learners, especially the most underserved, deserve to build strong futures in a complex world. We're dedicated to advancing STEM inquiry through technology to equip learners and empower lives. That's kind of one of their vision statements. So that really caught my attention. And pretty much what this is, it's an open resource website that has a focus on math, science, and technology. And they relate a lot of their activities to up-to-date research activities that have gone on or are currently going on, and they adapt them for classroom use for students in both middle school and high school to be able to use these using computers or using hands-on in-class activities with sensors and probes and things like that. You don't have to have those to do these though. But they get to really ask questions, explore using real data that makes sense, and then they can use different forms of technology as well. Lots of simulations and things like that they can interact with. And what's really neat about this is the STEM activities in this site, everything on this site are free for teachers to use. You just have to create a free account. And so if you want to go directly to the STEM resources, this website right here, learn.concord.org, will take you to it. So I'm going to click on that, and I'll show you what it looks like. When that page comes up, it looks like this. And what you can do is you can choose your topic, your course, whatever your course is. You can filter it by type of activity, by grade, and then if you want to be really specific, you can search by keyword. But I found when you do this that it really narrows it down. So if you want to keep it broader, it probably will give you more choices. So you can see that it's got 368 resources in here, and if you scroll down, you can see all of the different ones. But if you want to do a specific search, let's say I want to do an activity for high school life science, and notice it filtered all of those, and it narrowed it down to 40 resources. So I can look and I can see the different resources that it has available, all of the different topics that students can do. So if I click on this, let's say this DNA to protein one, I can see that it's specifically designed for 9 through 12 or higher ed. So that tells me it's probably a little more higher level if it's useful for college students. And when you click on it, you'll see it gives you a preview, so you can kind of read and see what it has available with it. Notice it has a student worksheet, and then it has the suggested answers. It shows you how it's aligned to the standards. It's aligned to one of the high school life science performance expectations. And then it gives you other things that are similar to it. It also, if you look, it gives you a teacher's edition, so you can actually go to the teacher's lesson plan that goes with this activity in one of the other units that they have, or you can assign it to students. Now what you can do is you can go into Concord's site and create classes. I just made this practice 1 class just to see what it looked like. And then you can save it to that class, and students can get access to it through their website. That's if you want to keep up with student progress. You want to see how well they do. You want to see their answers that they actually put in. You would need to do it this way. Or if you just want to give them an activity and you're not really keeping up with how well they do, you can just share the link with them on Classroom or whatever your learning management program is, and they can get access to it that way. Okay, so that's just one example of one of the activities that I searched for using the STEM activity resource finder page. And you can choose your area, and you can go in and you can do different kinds. Notice they do have browser-based or sensor-based. So if you do have a sensor that you would like to use, they do have some that are aligned to those. And then you can also do, if you look over here, you can do an advanced search. So if I click that, notice I can really narrow down what I'm looking for. And in some cases, you're going to narrow it down so much that they don't have an activity for that. But just be aware that you can be that specific by grade level, subject area, type of resource. You can even choose the sensors that you have that you want to try and use and see if they have any activities with those sensors. You can also require them to be browser only. If you've got Chromebooks that you would not be able to really download to, you can just pick activities that have browser only. And then you can also go by collection. I'm going to talk about the collections here pretty soon in the rest of the document. And you'll know what that means after that. So that is the STEM activity finder, that if you're just looking for an activity to go along with your unit and you need something for students to do, especially on a computer, this might be a good resource for you. Another thing that this will do before I move on, if you look here at this NGSS Pathfinder, if you click it, it will allow you to find an activity that's aligned with your standard that you're using, your practice, your core idea, and your cross-cutting concepts. So let's say, for example, the practice that you are focusing on in your standard, or the core idea you're doing, let's say, is physical science. So I click physical science, and we're using models. Oops, we're using models. And then we're also focusing on energy. So it connected those three dimensions, the practice, the core idea, and the concept together, and it gives you the activities that they have that are aligned to those three dimensions. So if you're really trying to align your activities to the standards, this is another way that you can do it. You can search by that, and it will help you find those particular activities that are aligned that way. I thought that was neat because sometimes we have trouble finding activities. We don't know if they really go with our dimensions that we're trying to focus on in our standard. This kind of helps you figure that out. All right, so check that out if you're interested in finding that. I'm just going to go back and I'm going to get out of this, and I'm going to get out of this and go back to our document. All right, so just some ways that you can use it. I've already kind of said this, but you can use them virtually or in person. You can search by different aspects of the resource. There's a lot of good simulations in lots of different science and math areas. I do want to look at this collection section because the activities that are in this STEM resource page are also embedded in these collections, and these collections are broader lessons, units, things like that are based on real world projects that scientists today are actually studying. We want to make our things real world. We want to make them relevant. And so this is one way that we can show that this data that they're going to get from these collections is real. It's something that has actually been collected by a real scientist. And then this last part is CodeApp. I'm not going to go in depth into that, but it is a way, it's a web-based tool that provides students, again, with real data to help them improve their ability to analyze it, their ability to graph it, and then interpret what the graph tells them. It's got sample data in there that they can use that the program actually provides, or you can actually load your own from an experiment they did. They've got the data table in a file. They put it in a certain format, and the program will tell them the format that it needs to be in, and then they can just click and drag into the program and it will create a graph for them. It's really kind of neat. I'm going to look at that more specifically and probably send out some information that I learned from that. If any of these, as you do your own search through this website, if you find a collection or a unit or an activity that you want to know more about and you don't have time to look at it and you want me to go into it more in depth, I'll be glad to do that. Just let me know and I'll do that research for you and then provide you some support in implementing it in your class. Again, I put some links here about some specific units. There are some physical science units, some biology lessons, some earth science simulations, and then just some general inquiry activities in all of those topics, and then some. Check those direct links out. They come directly from this same website. I just kind of narrowed it down for you. In the days ahead, I'm going to be looking at more of the interactions collections, more of the biology collection, more of the genetics collection, and then again, that data collection tool, that data analysis tool, CodeApp, that might help some of you get your students more familiar, more comfortable in manipulating and interpreting data. So if you look at any of these again and you want to know more, just please let me know. But I do want to show you this collections. I'm going to click on it. I've made a link there that shows you the different collections that they have. And notice they have different research projects going on, and that's what these collections come from. You can see there's some about modeling. This one is just about, this is that biology curriculum that I told you about. It's a collaboration between Michigan State and the Consortium. It's aligned to the NGSS, and it has a teacher edition. It has teacher resources for all of these different activities. I think it has 4 or 5 activities about mouse color that students can use. And what this particular unit does is it connects big ideas within biology together. And I think that's really cool because sometimes we teach one unit and then we move to the next one and we don't show how they're connected to one another with the concepts that we want to bridge those with. And this curriculum, I think, does a good job of that. That's just one there in the collections. Another one that I thought was neat, this Earth Science Resources. It has all kinds of modules that you can do with different earth science topics that students can work through. You can assign them to them. They're all free, again. This Geniverse, this is a genetics set of lessons, heredity and genetics. I haven't looked real in depth on it, but if you're looking for something genetics new and different, especially in a virtual environment, you might check that out. This graph literacy over here is middle school. But if your students are having trouble with graphing, it might be worth checking out. I'm going to click on it just to show you that it has some activities about how to graph, and it has lesson plans in it, some different skills that students need to have if they're going to be a good analyzer of data, teaching them about variables, what story the graph tells them, and then it gives them some real world scenarios, some real world phenomena that they can use in learning about those graphs. So if you've got some middle school friends that you think could use that, share that with them, or you yourself if your students need that. This inquiry space down here, this is what I was talking about, the inquiry activities. If you go down and you click your subject area, notice it's got some physics inquiry investigations that students can do. It's got some biology ones as well. And I think it's got one chemistry one maybe. And then it's got some different simulations in all of those areas. So check out that inquiry space one. It's got some good simulations that you might use to help your students get a better handle on whatever subject, it keeps going to that one, whatever subject you happen to be teaching right now. There was one more on here that I wanted to show before I moved on. Oh yeah, this interactions. That's where the physical science units are. Again, it's a Michigan State and Concord collaboration. It gives you an overview of the curriculum, but look down here, it shows you the units. And if you click on the units, notice it gives you a pre-test, and then it gives you the activities that go with that unit, and then it gives you a post-test. And one thing that I noticed that it will allow you to do, it allows you to preview it. So if you click preview, then you can see all of the different activities. It tells you how long it should take for students to complete it. You can go through and look at all of the questions that it asks them to do. And it has some really interesting things. If you look at this drawing tutorial, it shows them how to actually use the drawing tool in this program. So that's something they would need to know how to do. And then it gives them some questions. It gives them something to look at or interact with, and gives them a space to type their questions. And when they complete this, they complete all of these questions and get to the end, then they submit it and it comes to you online and you can look at their answers. If you've created classes and put your students in those classes and given them the login information that they'll need for it. It's just there's a lot of setup probably on the front end, but once you get that going, then it's probably going to be something useful. Another thing that it will allow you to do, again, you can assign it or you can just share it if it's something that you just want them to look at. And then here on the more, it gives you what everything looks like, and you can actually, sorry about that, you can actually print you can actually print the pretest, you can print the activity pages with the questions, you can print the post-test for those students that don't have internet. You know, you can print it all out, they can write on it in a paper packet, and they can turn it back into you. It takes up quite a bit of paper, but hopefully you're not doing too many paper packets at this point. If you are, it's still a good option because it has it printable right there for you, and you can see all of the other activities that they suggest that you do with it. So that's the interactions curriculum. Again, it's 4 units of physical science activities. You wouldn't have to do them all. You could just choose the ones you wanted if you wanted to. And then it has the simulations that go with each of those units already embedded there for you that you can use. That's not what I wanted. And then I think that was all that I wanted to show you. There's a lot more that you can look at. You can go to this page yourself and look at all of the things that they have available that you can look at. But if you scroll down, you notice there's several collections there that have all different kinds of activities that students can do. And then this code app, I'm not going to say a whole lot about it, but I do want to show you this. This is the page that you would go to if you wanted to learn how to use it. It has a couple of tutorials that just show you how to use the graphing software, and then it has some data sets that are preloaded that you can use. Like I said, if you want to check this out for yourself, if it's something that you think would be helpful to you, you can use it. You can make it as simple for grades 5, or you can move it all the way up past high school age if you want to. There's just a lot of things that you can do with it. I'm going to do a little more searching on it, a little more learning about it, and I'll probably be sharing out what I've learned about that as I do. But I wanted to go ahead and share that with you so that you could check it out yourself if you wanted to. So that's the Concord Consortium. If you have questions or you want extra help with it, let me know, and I'll be glad to look up anything and help you and support you with any of it. Thanks.